All right. Well, welcome everybody to our Tuesday morning share. We were going to get right into it. I could hear Colleen. She's very altered. So just so you all know, for a multitude of reasons. But I just wanted to just say good morning. The kind of technical side might be a little hard for her. Say hello to all of you, those that are watching later. Few announcements. She is teaching a Karuna class coming up on, it's the following weekend. It's the 20th, 21st, 22nd, correct, Danni? Yeah. She's teaching a Karuna class online the 20th through the 22nd of October. And then the following week, we are teaching an animal Reiki class the 25th, 6th, 26th, 27th for Animal Reiki Master. And then the 28th and 29th for Animal Reiki 1 and 2, which is a weekend. Go to reikilifestyle.com to find the information on our classes. They are amazing. With Colleen have just been back from Egypt, I have a feeling that they are going to be a really high vibe experience. She is also teaching a 7-day Karuna class and experience on the island of Maui in Hana, Hawaii at William Rand's amazing place in Hana. She's co-teaching there with him. And then outside of the Karuna class, it's a 7-day experience. So you get to go and see the sights of Hana. Just a beautiful, extraordinary place. So you can go to reiki.org for that information. And then the last announcement is that we have the wait list for our 2024 Next Step or Explore the 12 Heavens classes has been opened. So you can get on the wait list to receive more information, to secure your spot. And that is at reikilifestyle.com as well. We'll be sending out more information, talking about that more in depth, but I just wanted to let you know, for those of you that know that they are wanting to take it in 2024, you can go put your name on the wait list. So then you don't have to think about it. We'll just for sure send you the information when the actual registration opens. All right. So what we were talking about, Colleen is home from Egypt. So I know the last 3 weeks we've seen little glimpses of her and her stuff, or if you follow her on social media, you've seen her stories in all her adventures with Egypt. So she is back today. I did give the caveat that she's very altered, not only from Egypt, but also from a session this morning that took her into very high consciousness. It was really funny. Her and my dad, they came home they got home Friday night and we saw them. What did we see you Sunday? Colleen, I think. Yeah, we saw you Sunday. And they're just telling their stories. And I swear it just dropped me. I mean, their frequencies right now between the two of them are really high. I was not on that energetic plane that day. I was very tired and other things. And they also had gotten me some bracelets, and I put the bracelets on and I started feeling nauseous. And I was like, oh man, I'm feeling nauseous. And then I realized, I was like, oh, I put the bracelets on about 10 minutes ago, and you got some of them outside the Temple of Isis, right? Was that what it was, Colleen? Yeah. And so I was like, oh, this is the bracelets. My energy is not holding as high as these bracelets are. So I had to take them off. And I swear in about 2 minutes, I started to feel better. So anyways, I was like, okay, I need to kind of bring my energy up to these bracelets. So anyways, without further ado, just to give you an idea of where they're vibrating at right now, Colleen, you can go ahead and kind of start talking about your trip, and welcome home.
Well, thank you. Truthfully, it's a little bit difficult to know what to even say because I'm still pretty in it. And just as a quick recap, we got there October 18th into Cairo. We stayed at a hotel called the Mina House. And the Mina House is the historic location of the peace talks between Israel and Egypt. And many of the peace talks during World War II, World War I, it's a powerful location in and of itself, and it's a hotel now run by the Marriott hotel chains. Very beautiful grounds right at the base of the pyramid. So that was our initial journey into it. The first day, so first of all, the group that I went with was just a group of very experienced people. One of them, she and I have done shamanic work together for over 20 years. Karen Hefner, she was recently on one of our podcasts talking about it. And then her colleague, Jane, who has been doing this for 31 years. And we also traveled with a company called Quest Travel, that as we, worked with them for 14 days that we were together, I mean, it was just seamless. They took care of everything. And that was also, as we talk in these groups, a lesson in receiving, because I'm very used to being independent, doing things on my own, things like getting my own luggage, like I'm getting my luggage. And wait, we do that for you. I mean, just continual service and really meaning it, like really gracious people. And so we started the very first day with a ceremony, and it was a private ceremony at sunrise in the paws of the Sphinx. And so the energy of it, and the Sphinx, of course, is near the pyramids, and the energy of it was such an initiation into the land and just the ancientness of the traditions and the people and the land and the humanity, I guess, would be a good way to put that. And, as many of you know, I work with Holy Fire Reiki, and very much, an energy of that land, the energy of the healing land throughout all the temples that we went to. And the hieroglyphs, you see people doing this to other people, like many image after image after image of sharing life force with people in the images, in the hieroglyphs, even having animals where their paws are upraised and sharing energy. So very much a part of the tradition. To be honest with you, there were a lot of the stories from the archaeologist, Egyptologist that he was sharing with us that I didn't know enough about to really be able to grasp all the history that the images were showing. I loved the Emil that was guiding us through everything. He was wonderful because he would tell the story that is a common story about each of the temples and what takes place in them. And then he'd say, but I don't know, use your imagination. Maybe we came from the stars. Maybe they did things in ways that we don't remember how to do here. I don't know, just use your imagination. So that part of it was also really fun. And the rest of the group and the people were all very able to hold the energy of the ceremonies, to be in the ceremonies, even though it wasn't specifically Reiki and not everybody was a Reiki practitioner or shamanic practitioners. Almost everybody was in the healing arts in one way or another. And so we went to the paws of the Sphinx. Then we went to Saqqara, which is the first known written text through images, through the hieroglyphics, and, ancient and telling the story. And so we went there, and it's called the Step Pyramid. I'm trying to get the pictures put together, but we just got back. So, and of course, I took like 1,000 pictures. So I'm trying to get them put together. one of the really fascinating things in Saqqara was that the Apis bulls were considered to be divine beings of whatever ruler was in place at the time. And so they were buried in these huge tombs underground in tunnels with granite tombs that are thousands and thousands of pounds. They're massive. And those tombs come from, the granite comes from 600 miles away. And then underground in these amazing tunnels. And so we did that. I rode a camel, and that was my first experience with that. And that was interesting because I was a little bit concerned about, are the camels well treated? Are the horses well treated? And absolutely well fed. The horse was well fed. The people were kind to us and kind to them. And so that was something fun, and to get to kiss a camel. So I got to get in its little mouth and its lips, stand back in case it spits, but it didn't have anything like that. It was very, very calm. And then, there's so much, I don't know that I can go through details about all of it, because we also then went up the Nile on a sailing ship that only held 20 people, and just beautiful ship. And the crew that was on the ship has done this for years, and done this for years with Jane. And so again, very cared for, and going up the Nile for 10 days. So we went up the Nile for 10 days, and it's, along the riverbanks, it's all palm trees and lush. And then behind it, you see the huge dunes of the desert. And getting to see the people along the way, for me, I love people. I love humanity. And I actually really like people. And I know that a lot of times people say, well, I don't love people, but I actually do. And so going up and seeing the people and their way of life, and the fishing villages, and, the people riding the mules, or not mules, donkeys, little burros. And then along the banks, they're all staked out in the big pastures, and, the cows and the burros and everything eating together. And the kids would come up to the ship, and of course they would all be like, hey, and, excited to see us, as kids would be. And so we went to the various temples. One of the big ones was Karnak, and Karnak is the resting place of Sekhmet. And Sekhmet is one of the only goddesses that is still residing in her temple. Like the statue of her has not been moved to a museum, and many of the others have all been moved. And Sekhmet actually created a lot of problems for people when they tried to remove her. And so finally it was decided, leave her where she is. And we got to have alone time with her. And that was an interesting one, because I haven't really engaged with Egyptian gods and goddesses, so I don't have a particular relationship with their energy or who they are on a spiritual level. I have lots of friends that have, and colleagues that do, Karen, for instance. And so it was really interesting connecting in. Of course, I would use Reiki and that distance symbol to make that connection and that heart-to-heart recognition. And one of the things that I think actually came through in one of these distance Reiki shares before we left, and maybe even, kind of all the way around whatever the work is, what we were doing, was the awareness that I don't know the questions to ask. And what they say in the spiritual realms is they can answer us when we can ask the questions. Then they know we're ready to receive the answers. They have to share with us and to empower us. And so that was one of my big things going through the trip was what questions don't I even know to ask or to think about, and to ask that, like, to have those insights shared. And so some of the words that really came through so powerfully that then Robyn and I actually were redoing our website, and we actually realized that they are meant to be part of our, a really big part of our message, just like stay stable, be kind, is also balance. That balance, and how important balance is right now, and how much Reiki energy empowers us with balance and connects us with the earth, connects us above, and connects us to ourselves. And so it creates that balance. And so I was with Sekhmet and asking her, and then she talked about peace and how amazing, because we got home Friday, and then, everything happening in Israel and Palestine started on Saturday. And so really talking about peace and the Nile, then relating with the Nile as one of the rivers of peace. And so I didn't know what to ask. All I could do was ask for the blessings, because in the moment I just thought, I just need to receive, because I don't know enough to know what to ask for. And so that was part of what where I was in that place of just like, okay, I'm just going to listen. So balance, peace, and wholeness came through as, really what we feel that Reiki does with us. It helps us to balance. It brings inner peace and hopefully generates peace around us. And then also wholeness, revealing our wholeness. So that kind of stayed with me, and I was crocheting along the way, and I'd crochet that message with Reiki into the stitches as we were going up the Nile, and just really listening to the land, and but also at the same time having fun with other people, talking, eating. They fed us really well. So I'm now in that process of, coming back to my diet here. And then we went to the Temple of Isis. We went to others in between, but these are the highlights because there's too many. Went to the Temple of Isis, and the same thing. We got there at sunrise, and we were able to do a personal, private ceremony in the Temple of Isis. And I had that same experience of, it was go up to the prayer stone and ask and invite. And all I could do was really just invite the energy of Reiki, activate the energy of Reiki, and activate the listening and the receiving. And I remember it was, I receive your blessings and I share my blessings with you. And that was the exchange in the moment, and just staying open for what there is to receive and to know. And like I say, I don't know these beings well. I haven't studied them prior to this to really have a relationship with them. And so that then continuing back up the Nile after that, and various temples, and going into Aswan. And Aswan, again, just a beautiful city. It's interesting because there's the juxtaposition of a modern building next to a building that, looks very impoverished. And the cars and the buses and the camel being ridden going by, and the horses and the carrot, and drawing a wagon, and people on donkeys. So it's all that mixture, which I love. and very, I would say, organized chaos in the driving. And crossing the street, like luckily we had people helping us do all of that, getting us from here to there. And so then after that, the next highlight is we flew back to Cairo, back to the Mina House, where we had private time in the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid. I'm still altered from that experience. That was just last Wednesday, I think, Wednesday. And we were there for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, a long time, and ceremony in it. And in part of the ceremony where you're up on the altar individually. And I had this experience of it just taking me out into the stars. And a lot of times in my journeys, my Reiki journeys, it's more like I'm observing myself doing these things. In this one, I was in it. Like I was fully present in the journey way out into the stars. And in it, I was listening, like, I wonder if I'm going to go all the way out to the beginning, into the formless realm of the start of my spirit. And part way up, see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. So we have Colleen back. She did have to join from her phone. So go ahead, Colleen.
Well, I think I was in the place of the King's Chamber and the pyramid, and I can barely see. Oh, maybe I'll tap on myself, see if I can make myself bigger. There, okay. I can't see me. So anyway, I was talking about my place in the King's Chamber and seeing the earth and the incredible feeling of how much I love the earth and how much I love humanity. How often I have incarnated on the earth, and my awareness that I intend to incarnate again. And my relationship and deep relationship with the earth itself, and why I come here. And so it gave me this incredible sense of belonging. And then came back down and into my body. We were all toning in the chamber, which was very otherworldly, very powerful. And so then we came back, and a couple days later, we flew home from Egypt and got home Friday night, and still integrating. I loved the land. I loved the people. I loved everything about it. It was 110 to 114 degrees every day. And that was an amazing experience in itself. And I know some of you live in places that is that hot regularly, but I'm Portland, Oregon, and we're not. And so that was a whole experience in itself. And, just learning to be in the gratitude of the energy, regardless of the heat and the discomfort with the heat. So that was a whole piece of it itself. And just moving into that receiving. And this was a realization I had along the way. Is a while ago, I realized that I needed to change my intention from travel to vacation. So this was a true vacation. And that was really nice. It was a wonderful trip for my husband, Robyn. His name's Robyn also. And, he has done all the shamanic training and Reiki mastery training with me over the years, although he hasn't been practicing for a while. He has a construction company, so he's been very engaged with that, and our son works with him there. And they use Reiki there, but not quite in the same way of the intensity of ceremony that he's been in the past. He was actually a trained water pour for sweat lodges. And so, anyway, it was a really powerful experience for him as well and for us together. And he had some really incredible experiences. One of the things that was very notable and that we see in these groups is that, there are a lot of women that participate in these healing arts and these types of practices like Reiki, and then fewer men. And the awareness that the men are here that are able to support the women the way they do. And so the same way he and another man, Brad, were there. And then, of course, the crew members and the people taking care of us. So that was another really nice part of it, having that energy with him there as well. And there was something else I was going to say about that. Oh, I know one of the things that happened in the Temple of Isis during that ceremony. And that's what made me think of it with Brad, that he brought it up afterwards. There was this energy in my feet in that ceremony that it just pulled from the earth almost to the point it was painful, like almost in that sense of after your feet have fallen asleep and you try to stand up. But it was so powerful. My feet were so rooted, and this was probably for a solid hour, that they were so rooted, I couldn't move them even to like change position. And it was this intense feeling going through my legs. Well, so of course I thought it was just my own personal experience. But then when we shared as a group later, realizing that it was a group experience, everyone had that same experience of their feet just really energized by the earth and pulled with the earth. So that was another powerful experience. And then when we left that ceremony, we went down to the Nile to watch the sunrise in the Temple of Isis. And again, we were the only people there. And when I got down there, as you know, many of you have done this work with us with the River of Peace. And I put my hands in the Nile and brought them to my mouth as if I was drinking them. And, it's not really something that you drink of the rivers. So it was, a metaphorical bringing them up and just letting that water flow through me and the River of Peace energy of the Nile. So as I say, it was a really powerful experience. I do have a few photos I can show you. Oh no, I can't, because I can't screen share because I'm not on my computer now. I'm on my phone. That I had tried to put some screen sharing together, but I'll try to get them posted soon, at least on our YouTube channel. But it'll take a little bit because there was just so much and such a powerful experience, and what to share and what is beautiful to see. Probably again, a profound part of it was the awareness of the sharing of healing energy that is shown in the hieroglyphics, which the hieroglyphics are the text of the people. It's the stories written in the hieroglyphics. So I'll share those too. And like I say, some of them were even the animals that were, their hands were up and sharing Reiki with flowers. So, that was also beautiful to see. The other thing that's interesting is many of the temples still have like a covering of black soot on the walls and on the ceilings. And so the Egyptian government and people have actively been, when I say restoring, it's really more cleaning these temples, and the colors that are still there are extraordinary. They haven't, like, they didn't touch them up or anything. Those are the colors. So when you see the pictures that I share, and some of them in the extraordinary colors, those colors are thousands of years old, and then have been, they're not touched up. They've been cleaned, to show them. So I guess that's what I have to say in the moment. I'd like to do like a guided meditation journey, invocation, and it'll just be channeled because I kind of don't have a plan for what is to come through. I just know that this energy is really powerful in me right now, and I do want to share it with you, and with the energy. And one of the powerful images that has come through is that balance and the awareness of the tree of life, how that brings balance, and the roots going into the earth, and the branches reaching to the heavens, and the center trunk, it's all one piece and the wholeness of us. So that was probably one of the biggest messages for me, is balance. And I think what I know about the word balance is that I have a lot to know about what that actually means, and that it isn't always just our initial awareness of the word. So just like joy, or just like grace, for instance, is another one that I've had to really hear the word authority. That was another one where I hear the word and I have my preconceived idea of what that means. And then Reiki teaches me at a deeper level what the energy, like, these energies, the awareness that these words actually have energies and frequencies that we can receive through the life force energy of Reiki. So we may feel imbalanced or experience being imbalanced, and the energy of Reiki can bring us back to balance and fill us with an energy of balance. And again, for me, it's still like, well, what does that mean? I think I know what it means. And I think I'm a pretty balanced person by nature, but there's deeper knowing that, going along with the awareness of what are the questions that I have, that I don't know to ask, and listening for what those questions are. That I know one of them to begin with is to have a greater understanding of what is the energy of balance, and how does that, how does Reiki deliver that, and I receive it, and how then is it lived in my daily life, and what does it actually mean? Because I know it's deeper than my initial awareness of the word. And then peace, emanating peace. Obviously the unspoken words in this moment is the need for the power of peace right now, and what we can do as a group, that we are here together right now, and we have the power of empowering the energy of peace. And that's what I know in this moment. And that was also a tremendous message from Sekhmet, was that was something that I can do, is emanate the power of peace. And so we empower what is explained to me is by spirit, and a lot by the descendants, is that it does actually matter that as we co-create through our intentions, and through our just receiving of these external sources of these energies of peace, and then invite them to flow through us, in our own life and then in the world around us, that we actually give it a physical energy that exists at a very high frequency of intention, and that we're co-creating with that intention. So it also brings our wholeness to us, that recognizing our own internal abilities. Because that was the other thing that I really saw there, is that, you know, people love greatly. And I would say that I felt the love in Egypt. I felt the love among the people. They treated us so kindly and genuinely, with generosity and good humor, a lot of humor. And so it was another experience of being in a place to see, in all the different ways people are living around the world, people love greatly. So that's where we can go today. And that's what I know I can do in this moment to contribute. And it's a day by day thing. And that's what we know in this moment. And with us as a community, that we can empower these energies of balance and peace and wholeness.